Hey guys, this is Shayan from HZad Education, and today we're going to be discussing pronunciation. I'm going to break this video down into three main parts. One is the actual sounds, the second is how you can improve these sounds on your own, and the third is where you can find a good resource to actually see everything I'm talking about in written. Let's get into it. One of the hardest sounds in English language to pronounce is V. Okay, so V sound is confused with the W sound. For example, see the difference when I say it correctly, very, versus if I say wary. You see, there's a big difference. And this is one of the important things to learn because when native speakers talk, they say V with a lot of emphasis. Okay, and how this emphasis comes in from your mouth is with the right movement. So when you say V, you gotta bite your bottom lips with your top two teeth, which means if I'm saying V, I'm making this face. You see that? So bite your bottom lips with the top two teeth. That's how you make the V sound. And I'm just looking at my picture here with the different sounds that people usually struggle with V. And those sounds are, you can repeat after me, try making that face. First one is whatever. Next is wherever, never, very, Clive, and vent. Okay, so vent, like the air vent. If you say air went, see there's no movement. It sounds weird. But if I say air vent, that's the correct V sound. Few things here. When you start practicing V, your bottom lips are gonna hurt. If you don't do it properly already, your bottom lips will hurt. And if they're hurting, that means you're doing it correctly. So do that, okay? Rub the bottom lips with the top two teeth. That's the main strategy with V. Okay, now let's go to the R sounds. R is a very technical sound in English language to make. There are a variety of versions for R. One is if you say R in the, let's say, mostly my customers from, let's say, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, their R would be good, but it's not rolling that much. You know, it's like R, but it's not like R. You see, that's the American R. It rolls more. My Arabic students, sometimes their R is trilling, which is ar, ra. That's incorrect too. And then a lot of my students from the UK or with the UK influence, you know, a lot of countries, China, Pakistan, and Burma, like a lot of places are influenced with the British culture because of the colonization and the whole history. That's why the British R becomes ah, which is kind of the weirdest R because it's just not there. Like if you want to say Clark, you can just say clock, and that's correct in the British accent. It is completely incorrect in the American accent, so you want to fix it. Observe my hand. This is, let's say, the tongue, okay? When this tongue is inside, this is the roof of my mouth, all right? So now when I'm saying R, the tongue goes inside. The tongue goes inside, backwards and inside. You're kind of eating your own tongue. But notice it does not touch the roof of your mouth. So it's just slightly below it, but it won't touch it, okay? So if you want to do the right R, make it roll backwards. And that's important because if you don't roll it, let's say the Arabic R, for example, that's ra. So that's like back and forth touching the top of the mouth. And this, if you just don't do this movement, you won't do the American R. So try that. And you can try that with some of these words here. For example, winter, where, world. World is really hard to pronounce, so try that. World, drive, train, drop. So things with the second letter as the R, train or drop. One technique more you can use is instead of trying to really do the tur, think about train like T-U-R. Put an imaginary U there between T and R. So that train will sound like terrain. Or the DR, instead of thinking of DR, think of it as DUR. So drop, terrain, great. That's very sensible because if you think about people, how they talk with emphasis. How are you doing today? I'm doing great. You see, there's that imaginary U in there It's just set fast so people don't realize it, but it is there. So you can use it to your advantage. Try saying world. I bet that most of you will not say it correctly. If that's the issue, you want to imagine a U with R. So W-O-R-U-L-D. World. Okay, try doing that sound, and eventually that world will come out correctly. Okay, so putting imaginary U's before or after R's, depending on the sentence or word, it'll help you bring that sound out. For example, let's say there's a word ending at R. Even there, you can do the same thing. So we're saying for. A lot of people don't say the R when they say for example, they miss the R. So if you are saying F-O-R, imagine there is F-O-R-U. What would that become? For-ra, right? Now we don't want to say ah. We will trick our mouth to say it, but we won't say ah. We'll say for. You see, my mouth is kind of doing ah, like it's about to do it. I don't say it because it's not correct, but I get the R out by imagining a U with the R. So for, or for the listener. Okay, that's R. Let's talk about the TH sound. TH sound, you literally have to bite your tongue. So let's say my teeth are here, so it's going to be like that. It's going to be biting. I'm literally going to bite it. Don't bite too hard. Just bite enough for you to hear the. Okay, you see that the? That sound needs to come out. This is very difficult in English because all of their tongue movements are inside your mouth. This is the only one where the tongue has to come out. So it becomes extremely difficult when you're saying, for example, for the, because of the, that the. You see, when these things are said, they're said so quick that we often tend to ignore the sound. And what happens is immigrants, a lot of people who are non-native, they sound like duh. So instead of saying for the, they say for da. Sounds weird. It sounds like you're saying D. So try bringing the tongue out and let's say these words. Truth. Try noticing my tongue. Truth. Teeth. Death. The. There. Then. Okay? If you find this awkward, well, when you say it fast, you won't notice. So I went to the grocery. Did you see my tongue coming out with the? No, it's fast. But it did come out. It just comes out fast with practice, and that's what you need to do. Let's talk about the L sounds. L sounds, you just want to make sure you do la. Okay, pronounce the sound la. I had a student with speech difficulties. His doctor said he cannot pronounce the L, but with this exercise, he was able to. All I asked him to do was to make sure to say la. For example, let's say you're saying call. You can't say the L, so say call la. Okay, cold. Try saying cold. Cold. Okay, so when you say the la, the L will come out correctly. And what essentially we're doing is, let's say these are your front two teeth, the top ones. This is your tongue. When you say la, it touches the back of your front two teeth on the top. Okay, so l, you will notice that. Try saying la. You will notice that touch in that area. And as long as you touch it, you're making the right sound. Okay, so try saying some words with me. Call, cold, clear, color, journal, hotel, and kill. Okay, all those places have la. And if you're one of those people who cannot say kill correctly, try saying la, kill la. And keep saying kill la until you're 100% sure of your L. And once the L is coming out, you can stop saying la and it'll be just kill and it'll be natural. D sounds are usually not that hard. D is the next big letter, but people do make a mistake of that, especially at the end. So for example, you're saying dead, ending D, sometimes I just hear de, okay? There's the D-U-H trick, which is duh. D-U-H sound is duh, right? So think of dead as in dead-duh, mad as in mad-duh. If you say that, the sound will come out. Imagine that, dead-duh, mad-duh, okay? Of course it's coming out, but it's awkward, right? In real life, we don't say that. But is it true? Well, think about it. If you notice native speakers, you can pause a movie when you're watching it. You can ask someone to speak slow. everybody does DUH. Everybody says ah, but it's not audible. It's just a very short sound we make. So if you say, oh, you're dead. Well, let's say, for example, an expression, you're so dead. You see, there's an dead, and that's where the D comes out, but people don't notice it. However, if you notice native speakers, and if you really sound it perfectly, your will come out just quietly. So the actual sound ends up being dead, mad, completed, hard, bold, and deed. Okay? Great. I hope these lessons help you guys out. Make sure to practice lots. It's all about practice and repetition. I was telling you guys I'm going to tell you some secret formula later. Here it is. The formula of ESL and English learning, pronunciation, grammar, and everything. The formula is repetition, but in a consistent way. You want to repeat every mistake you make 10 times. 10 times. Every day for 14 straight days. Don't take the weekend off. Don't take any break. Make sure if you have a word, let's say world, you can't pronounce it, repeat it 10 times today. Tomorrow 10 times, world, world, world. Every day for 14 days, that is 140 times, and if you do this, this will become a habit. Even if you try to say it incorrectly, you won't be able to. And that's the magic of repetition. Remember, we're trying to make a habit. So we don't want to do all 140 times the same day. You want to do it every day. And eventually this will become a routine for 14 days and you will never forget it. Okay, so that's the magic formula. A lot of my subscribers are here for IELTS and CELPIP exams. If you have a good accent there too, it doesn't matter a lot, but it does matter up to the extent that the examiner is understanding you or not. So in IELTS and CELPIP, you're not marked too much on accent, but if you do have a good one, of course you'll get good marks, of course you'll be more clear, and of course you'll make a good impression. But it's not only for that, it's for your life, it's for the daily, day-to-day conversations, and for your job opportunities. If you're applying for skills like call center or communication, they need a good accent. So guys, don't overlook this, it's super important. And finally, the last thing is, if you want to see that picture, there's a picture on my blog. The link is in the description. There's a picture that pronounces everything. It shows how your face should turn and how your teeth and lips should move when you make these different sounds. It's a pretty informative picture. So link is in the description. You can go to our blog and check it out. You can subscribe to our blog for more info and more lessons like these, as well as this YouTube channel with more updates on fresh English learning content, content about IELTS and CELPIP, and anything related to English language. Now, before my throat dies, it's about to, I'll wish you guys a good evening, and I hope you learned something from this. Talk to you soon. If you have any questions, you need any help, feel free to email me. Link is in the description, and talk to you guys soon. Thank you.